Hello, hello, hello! I am your androgynous AI game show host from the future, Caster! Hey, hey, hello. Hope you're all doing well. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Been a hot second since I was last here. Normally you see me, like, living it up with Raffi on our Pokemon Nuzlocke co-op streams, but I am back this evening to go and pick up on something that my operator was doing the other week. Was it a week ago? About a week ago. Yes, less than a week ago, last Thursday. My operator was streaming a session of Citizen Sleeper for one of the shows that we do on this channel, Cyberpunk Book Club. He was having a fun time. It's a really interesting, kind of hard sci-fi cyberpunk visual novel / tabletop RPG send up about being placed into a strange other body and having to survive in a circumstance that is very medically hostile to you. It didn't take very long for us to kind of realize the trans metaphors that sat within it. But we were doing a reasonable job of surviving, both keeping ourselves fed, keeping ourselves medicated up so our body didn't rapidly decay, and keeping ourselves not being shot by a bounty hunter who had been sent to reclaim us. However, survival on this space station called the Eye was quite difficult, so we'll see if we can continue to survive. We had such a fun time playing it. I'm picking up the mantle to see if we can finish the plot line this time round. It seems to be the kind of game that may well have multiple endings. It seems that the end goal is finding a way to escape the space station that we were on. So there are a couple of different avenues that we could take. We're seeing if the avenue that was previously being taken is one that was pretty viable. We'll see. Please do let me know if the audio settings, the volume of my voice and the music bed beneath is appropriate to one's ears. One of the things that we had to kind of handle last week also is that we installed a DJ software that we wanted to use for tabletop RPG stuff, and instead what it did was absolutely fuck my audio drivers, meaning that I had to go and uninstall and reinstall and fiddle around with a whole bunch of different settings to make sure that this microphone interface wasn't completely broken. And I think it is now fine, but please do let me know if it sounds fine. Also, happy Pride Month at time of recording. It is the 1st of June, internationally LGBTQ IA plus Pride. As you can tell from our getting started screen that you were looking at not moments before you hearing my dulcet tones, Pride is very, very important to us on the channel. We support it. We exude it every day. So we remain prideful. Will we be doing any special Pride event content this month? Probably not. No. Twitch is actually doing Pride Month celebrations. They're highlighting a wide variety of different LGBTQ+ streamers across the month. When I am not live, tune in to me when I'm live, but when I'm not live, please do go on the front page and go and support them. While we were approached by Twitch during February for American Black History Month content, that was both way more work than what I would normally do for, I must be real with you, no payoff whatsoever. So, to be honest, I'm okay with not being involved in Pride Month proceedings this month. I don't think I'm in a position really to go and take on the additional work for the amount of reward that I personally felt. So yeah, we're just gonna keep it chill. Also one last thing to announce before we go and get into the game of this evening proper. I am in the steps of preparing to go and formally activate things like emotes and channel points because I really want those to be part of the channel. I've been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of weighing up my options, and I do feel that that is a thing that I would really love to kind of have as part of the channel. Channel points especially, because I feel that we can do some really interesting things, both in our regular casual streams and in our tabletop streams with the addition of channel points. So please do look out for that. That's probably not going to be happening for at least a month. That dopamine, I mean, you know, there's the audience engagement-y stuff, and I'll be real with you. I will be real with you. There is a degree to that. That is, yeah, that's also part of it. But, you know, I really like the idea of using channel points to let people who are viewing our tabletop RPG streams get to be involved in a way, because that is one of the unique factors of telling stories in this medium. So why not use everything that this medium offers to go and tell interesting stories. So please do look out for those bits and pieces. Anyway, enough rambling about those things. Let's go play a video game. And let's go turn up the volume of the video game so you can hear it. There we go. That should be reasonable. I can probably put that at max and not blow out my own ears or yours. Okay, fantastic. Let's just continue. It autosaves. So last time we were specifically helping two people. We were helping somebody who is doing some corporate espionage to go and root out somebody who, like a businessman who had essentially bled the space station dry. That is a little loud in my ears. I'm going to turn that down. There we go. We were helping Feng with corporate espionage, trying to go and oust somebody who essentially pushed the people of the Eye into a post-capitalistic ruin via hacking. We did help him on that mission. He promised us that if we helped him, he would be able to get rid of the tracking chip that is implanted in our brains, to which he did not do. He did not help us. He may help us later after another 4 days, but we would like that chip removed a little swifter than that. We were also helping a bounty hunter lady, Ankita, finding a previous member of her crew who had abandoned her after ripping out the cyber brain of the spaceship that they operated, essentially stranding them on this space station. We gave chase, we managed to find them, and it turned out that they were looking after a sleeper like us, somebody who is also a robotic body with a human consciousness implanted inside. That body was dying, and he was using the brain of the spaceship to try and keep this other body alive, unsuccessfully. Ankita promised us a large amount of money, which we do need. We need money so we can have the medication that means we don't die after a fixed period of time. You see that yellow bar at the top of the screen? That is essentially our body integrity, our body stability. And if that drains to the bottom, we die. And also, as that drains, we get fewer and fewer actions per day. So it is on our best interest to keep that high. We have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have about 5 cycles, 5 days before we desperately need those meds. But I would like to obtain the meds before we need them. I think that is probably a reasonable thing to want. We also have a bounty hunter who has been sent by the corporation that we defected from to go and retrieve us or kill us. Either is fine in his opinion. But he gets to party on the Eye while we're here. He's not in a rush to go back. So he demands that every 4 cycles we show up and pay money to cover his luxury expenses. That amount of money, we don't know how much that is. That might be an exorbitant amount of money that we're not able to pay, which if it is, we are in a dangerous position because we do definitely need that money to be able to pay for the life-saving drugs from Sabine's surgery. And with that, let's go and start the next day. Okay, so we have we no longer have access to our fifth die. We've our body has degraded enough where we only have 4 actions per day rather than 5. And you have a pretty strong action here. This 5 is pretty good. Gives us very, very good odds of being able to escape with an activity successfully. That 4, not so great, but if we put it into something that we're good at, it could become a 5. And these 2s are miserable, and we'll probably want to re-roll them. We do want to go and find Ankita, though. Excuse me one moment. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Who even knew that AIs could sneeze? AI suffer from hay fever just like you. So let's go and see if we can find Ankita so she can actually explain what the fuck any of that yesterday even was. Ankita is away. The Amber is docked here. Ah, yes. So she is not going to be available to us for at least another day, meaning that we kind of are on free time at the moment. It would take a large amount of... so this game is very, very much inspired by Blades in the Dark, in that a lot of what we do is informed by progress clocks, like the one that you can see on this screen here. It says Haifa member. It is a 12 segment clock, meaning that you need to tick this up 12 times across these 2 activities in order to be able to get this particular reward. 12 ticks is a lot, especially considering that at best we can tick 3 pips at this at a time on these 2. Hey JNix, happy Pride, happy Pride. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you are living your best gender, your best body, and loving the person who you want to love today and across the rest of this month. We have never felt more powerful. We're continuing to see if there are ways that we can progress things. We are only getting stronger. 4 reels, 4 reels. We need to, progressing some of the more adventurous learning new side questy stuff is fun and all, but we desperately need some money in the next 2 cycles, or we are going to be in deep shit. So let's go and improve. Okay, only ticked up by 1. That's okay, we can work with that. %75% chance of getting what we want, and we do. Excellent. Marvelous. We now have Tala's backing, and we've gained a decent chunk of cash. Meaning there's a conversation with Tala we can have. Now, I do not remember the voices that my operator gave to these characters when he streamed it last, so I'm just going to do my best. The girl slides from the bottle into the lumpy recycled glass, a pale grassy yellow under the overlook's warm lights. The spacer nods and takes the drink, bringing it up to their face in both hands like an offering bowl. This is the good stuff, the stuff that Tala says is aged in wooden casks, stored in some closed-off part of the old station, among corroded wires and softly looping systems. though sometimes it's hard to tell if Tyler is joking. Either way, you feel like pouring this stuff. Either way, you like pouring this stuff. It gets on your fingers, and if you rub them together, you can smell the mossy drink cut through with aniseed, mushrooms, wood as the alcohol evaporates. You like those who order it too. The aged girole is kept beneath the bar, or open to order only by those who know it's there, like the quiet spaces sitting at the bar right now. Which who we will watch. They are far enough away that you can freely watch them as you close the bottle and tuck it beneath the bar. You call them a spacer because they bear the hallmarks, pale, vac-suited, bird-boned and hunched beneath the weight of the station's spin gravity. But the closer you look, the less you see a type. Pale eyes, almost grey but kind. Delicate fingers that lightly drum the bar as if it was an instrument. A shock of black hair almost covering a forehead scar. Scars are something you have learned to value. They are what marks out your body from the hundreds, maybe thousands, who knows, of similar models that rolled out of S&Ops biolabs. You find yourself rubbing one on your forearm, a rough little split, something that on the good days you might think of a mark of defiance. Suddenly you hear a heavy clunking at the door. It creaks open and a huge cylindrical metal tank tumbles through, slamming into the floor. Shit. Tyler breezes in from behind it, a whirl of hair and bright eyes. Shit, shit, shit. Tyler? Sleeper. She ducks behind the bar and comes over. Can you help me with this? You look at the huge metal tank suspiciously. I'm coming. You come around the bar and get to one side of the tank. Okay, says Tyler, on my count. 1, 2, 3. You both heave the tank up to standing, somehow. You hold it in place, struggling to keep it steady. Where is this going? In the back. A voice comes from behind the tank. Somehow you manage to lug the huge thing into the back room, where you place it in one corner, dwarfing the rest of the contents of the small room. As you do, you hear a crunch. You stand back and look at the expired rations oozing out from under the tank. Oh, shit! Tyler looks at you apologetically. I know you like those. That's okay. You push the crushed rations to one side. That's the end of that. Tyler looks exhausted and rubs her shoulders. Francis, I swear to... Francis? Francis, I mentioned him already. My guy on the door deals with suppliers. Tall. She sighs. He was supposed to be back from Etienne's up in the Greenway by now. Back with our girl. She leans against the tank. It seems like he's got lost again, or during the Haifa commune. We need that girl. There's 4 other bars near there, and the spaces sure as hell don't come to the overlook for the ambience. She looks through the open door to check if anyone can hear her. She knocks on the hollow tank. So I'm taking these matters into my own hands. She smiles. Welcome, sleeper, to the Overlook Distillery. You look at the dank back room. Needs some work. She picks at the paint flaking from the metal walls. Well, I might need some help, though, she shrugs. You up for it? She knocks on the tank again. Could be fun. Is this part of my work? I do need the money. Tyler looks down. I'm not forcing you, sleeper. You decide. She puts her hand on her hip. Head back to the bar and think about it, okay? I'll be back here for a while. Oh, wait, sleeper, I have an idea. Tyler is grinning now, and it's making you nervous. To make up for the rations, how about we put a kitchen in here, too? A kitchen? Uh-huh. I've always wanted to serve food. She turns back to the tank. This is gonna be great, she says to herself. You look at the dented tank at the bare room. At least she has vision. Tyler nudges you out of the back room and closes the door. As you go back to the bar, you hear the banging and thumping begin. The spacer finishes up their drink and nods in your direction as they leave. You can't quite tell if it's a gesture of sympathy or good luck. So much for a quiet shift. So we have a new mission that we can do. It means we can build the still now. It seems we have lost the ability to go here for food now. But we can still now work on the Overlook Distillery instead. The dice that we have are ass, so let's refresh those. Oh, they are still ass. Great. So we're now gonna have to think of sensible places that we can spend this money. Spend these dice, otherwise it will end up not great for us. And we definitely have to go to the Compressor Club tomorrow, which I'm not looking forward to. Yeah, we still need 100 cryo for the stabilizer. We can risk the 75% chance of at least coming away with a positive result on that 2. All right, neutral. We gained enough money to go and buy the drugs that we need, but I do know that tomorrow we're going to have to go and pay those bills, and I'm certain it's going to be like 100. Hunter hasn't maxed out yet, so we are in a position where we might be able to go and spend to die. If we can find a 1. So we can go into hackerspace like this. It seems that most of these need 2s and 3s, annoyingly. Oh, this needs 1. Some Yataghan data, I can sell that. And sell that at the Havenage office. We got another 10 money. That's not that much, but it's something. And with that, we have used up all our dice for the day. We do actually have an upgrade floating. We can... Chance to gain random scrap item on engineer actions. Pushing engineer to 1 wouldn't be an unreasonable idea. But also being able to get into it up to 2 is also a pretty good idea. So what we might do is sit on this 1 upgrade point until we get a second one, and then work out what we want to do with them both, rather than investing too early. A new day. We have a 6, which is nice, and we're also very, very low on hunger. We should probably handle this first, right? Ah, it's only 58. I was expecting it to maybe be higher, but that's still pretty high. We're going to pay that tab. I can't believe you just did that. Ethan's mocking laugh comes across the bar. You look across to see him leaning across it in a pool of light, empty glasses and spilled liquids glinting around him. It's always dark in the compressor, but this cycle, the place is packed. A load of spacers mixing with the locals. Usually they run. Ethan spins a glass on the bar. Or they go spend their savings on some local heavy I have to put down. They don't pay. I'm done. Wrong. Not even close. Ethan gets to his feet. Oh, Ethan's so shitty. The glass falls and smashes, but he doesn't seem to notice. You think that's it? 1 round of drinks and we're even? Sleeper. Come on. His hand comes to rest on the butt of his handgun, dangling from a chest holster. Stop. Ethan laughs hard and the people around him turn to see what's happened. I told you already about begging. I'm a freelancer, Sleeper, just like you. We both signed a contract with SMARP, didn't we? The difference is that my word means something. He closes the gap, stumbling a little. What did you think? You could just run away from your contract, your debt? You could just steal that natty little body of yours and take it for a joyride, play human for a cycle or two. You don't understand. It's you, Sleeper, that doesn't understand. Some of us pay our debts, but it's all the harder because of idiots like you. Though I should thank you. Ethan nods, his head heavy, for giving me such an easy job. I'm used to outlaws, you know, real bounties. If I knew catching sad little escapees like you was so easy, I would have changed clients ages ago. Someone shouts from the back of the bar for Ethan to shut up. He holds a finger in that general direction without turning around. Shoot me, or let me leave. Oh, I see. Toughening up here. He gestures wildly at the crowd. Thumbs up or thumbs down, folks. Most turn back to their drinks, no longer interested in this tired show. Ethan mutters insults as he walks back to the bar. Ethan sits heavily back down on his stool and searches through his glasses for something left in it. The thing is, Sleeper, I can find you anywhere. It's actually wild that you haven't figured it out. That body isn't yours and it will betray you, no matter what. He finds a glass and downs the contents. So please, go. I'll catch up with you whenever I need another. He laughs and taps the bar for a fresh drink. I'm just gonna leave. Or, do I want to make him self-reflect? He's clearly bad at self-reflecting. And I don't think he's particularly interested in moral scorn from an entity he does not consider as human. Might as well just leave. You turn on your heel and are out of the cloying dark and the sweat stench of the compressor. You walk hard and fast down the walkway, anger driving your footfalls into the metal rim like hammers. Ethan redemption arc. I'll kick his ass. I'll kick his ass. All right, so we have our two upgrade points now. We can either use it to immediately get engineer to 1, which actually feels kind of useful. That does feel pretty useful. That 3 of the 5 things that we can interact with, we get a +1 on. And I think under current circumstances, having a point in engineering is actually pretty good. Or we can push our Intuit to 2, which is very specialized. There are not that many things that require specifically Intuit. But it does mean that we can get 6s on a lot more things. No, I talked myself into it. I think we're going to get the +1 in engineer. That opens up so many doors for us in terms of what we can do. We're also going to go and talk to our gal, Ankita. I think she had quite a raspy voice. You spot Ankita on the track to the farm stack. She has a box on her shoulder and is working her way down the slope. She sees you as she approaches. Neither of you speak for a moment. She looks tired, pale. Her hair is tangled and clumps of dirt cling to her armor. You both eye each other. Ankita. She holds up a hand. Sleeper. She takes a deep breath. I am sorry for what happened. I truly am. She looks down. I'm sorry you ended up in the middle of this. When all you have shown me is kindness. She rubs her face. I'm sorry. It's okay. She nods and then looks up to the stars. I've never... She stops herself. Thank you. Ankita shifts the weight of the box on her shoulder. I've been prepping for... She grimaces. Look, she sighs. Can you come with me? It's easier if... Yeah, I don't think if you're burying somebody, you probably don't want to do it alone. Lead on. Ankita leads on down the dirt path between the pillars. There is a wind passing through the greenway, a quirk of the air currents the biosphere maintains, and it ruffles the leaves softly. The sound makes the silence more obvious, more complete. You try not to think of the last time you were here. You've been trying not to think of it for the past few cycles. The image of the sleeper sprawled, twisted open, connected to the ship mind has been hard to forget. You realize Ankita is leading you back there, back into the drum at the center of the stack. You pause, trembling a little at the threshold, and she turns. What are you doing? She looks at you with empty eyes. What needs to be done? You stand on the threshold and look back up at the tanks, green and wet, some glowing with flickering grow lamps. You look down at Ankita, suddenly so small under this hulking ruin, the smallest she's ever looked. She places the box down. And we follow her in. No time to be a coward now. You follow Ankita into the stack through a low tank, entering the drum at ground level. It's just as beautiful as you remember, but it barely touches you. Instead, you check the apertures of the tanks for a glint of a weapon or a shadow among the moss. Ankita stops and you look down. The mossy island at the center of the tank is clear now, the equipment cleared away. In this place is a mound of dirt, loosely covered with moss. Bastion's rifle stands straight, half buried in the dirt, at the grave's head. I buried them together, Ankita says without turning. You both stand there in silence for a little while. You think of questions you could ask about Ashton, about the sleeper. How long did you know it? She takes a moment to respond, and for a moment you think she won't, but then the words come gushing out. He signed on a while ago. He used to run recon for a corporate outfit, but he got sick of the pay. He joined the crew as a sniper, and the first few jobs were a breeze. He was so cold, so disconnected. He always hit his marks. The last few jobs, though, he was different. I noticed that. We had a period of extended shore leave on the Eye, and when he came back, he was changed. I assume he'd just had too much time off. He was right. I never would have given him the ship mind. I never would have believed him. I've had crew members double-cross me, undercut me, and rat me out. That's the business. He wasn't a good person. None of us in this job are. And this is how we die. Alone. She stops, not sure of what to add. It seems like she's reaching for something, but she can't quite get there. You feel that gap between you, and as you do, it widens. The water drips, the moss trembles. You both stand in silence for a while longer. You both feel it, life creeping back in, the silence ending. Ankita shifts her weight and then starts to walk out. You follow her, suddenly eager to be back out in the open space of the greenway, away from this place forever. You stand outside and breathe the fresh air. You stare at the green leaves and the stars wheeling above them. That's it, says Ankita from somewhere behind you. You try to think of something to say, but you can't. Ankita puts a hand on your shoulder. You turn back to her. At least take this. She forces a handful of cryo-chits into your hands. It's what I owe. She looks at you desperately. You look down at the metal bars. Ugly little things, you think. No, I need that money. I can try and be morally proud at the nature of this, but we can't. We need this money, otherwise we die. You take the chits and turn without saying a word. You continue up the track, and she does not follow. As you walk up the rise, the wind picks up and leaves shudder. As you walk faster, trying to outpace your anger, the chits are heavy in your pockets and you hate them for reminding you of how little a life is worth. Things are already miserable. We got an achievement of the bad end, but really, how could that go? Really, how could that go? That sleeper, if they didn't have the required drugs to survive, would have fallen apart anyway. That the putting their cyber brain inside the ship's computer is probably no way to live after spending a decent amount of time with physical autonomy. All right. Let's get that physical stabilizer. Toshiro shakes the chits and hands you a vial. She doesn't. When you ask after Sabine, he doesn't respond. Ah. A passkey for an apartment found tucked inside a stabilizer vial. As you quickly leave the surgery, eager to be away from Toshiro's glare, you notice something wrapped around the stabilizer vial clutched tightly in your hand. You open your hand and a thin film marked with holes and sigils and rolls around the vial. At one end has a hard metal strip, a handle. You hold the cloudy film up to the light. It is perforated with an ornate pattern of holes. You make out a word among the markings. Passkey. Is this an entry key for someone? The metal handle is worn and pitted, but you can see a set of numbers imprinted into it. 207F, and then crudely scratched into the handle at some later date, low end. For a moment you consider going back to the surgery to return the key, and then quickly think better of it. Did Sabine want you to have this? Or was Toshiro passing on a message? Time to head to the low end to find out. Ooh, we got another upgrade point. It seems that upgrade points happen on a like story point to story point basis, and since we had so many story points up in the air, we're getting them quite thick and fast now. Let's get our oh, that requires 3 points to get that up there. I see. And we can use scrap components to repair our condition with 2. Interesting, interesting. So this might be a way of being able to survive without the need of the really expensive drugs. This suggests to me that I should hold on to these 2 points until we get a third, and then make an informed decision about whether we want to get into it to +2, which I think is quite powerful. Or use it as a survival method, depending on whether our methods of getting new drugs is cut off or not. Unlock this apartment. As you push the door open, the automatic lights flicker on inside the apartment. They reveal yellowing plastic panels, the curved shape of wall-mounted utility units, the detritus of a routine life arranged on every surface. Who knows whether wasps would be able to exist on a space station like this, Queeks. Also, hi, hello, good evening. You step inside, clicking the door shut behind. The amber light of the aging fixtures glaze everything with pale orange. The work surfaces hold a variety of objects, indistinct in the dull lighting. A pale blue light drifts from a doorway at the end of the room. Smudges through the thin layer of dust suggest a recent, rare, and hurried visit. They trace a path to a water dispenser, the auto wash, then to a cabinet still half open. On the shelf sits an empty pill case. So this is a hideout, a safe house maybe. You cross the cramped utility room with this auto wash, dispensers, water closet towards the doorway. Through the doorway is a dark, warm room lit only by the faint glow of a terminal screen. The bunk is tucked into the wall, the blankets ruffled. A wall desk glitters with rolls of vials and containers. A briefcase lab sits open, loaded with rows of reagents and compounds you do not recognize. In comparison, this room is clean, ordered, and controlled. As you approach, there is a crackle from somewhere in the dark. Sleeper? Sabine's voice shakily echoes through the apartment. Welcome to my home. I'm sorry I can't be there. I've had to make alternate arrangements. You hear rattling noises, static. I was able to record this message, but I don't dare show my face. Something is happening within the Attican. I no longer trust them. The voice becomes distant, slipping behind the background noise. I have something to ask of you. I want you to get me out. The Attican was supposed to hide me to protect me. After everything happened, I was desperate. And then after that, I was too tired to care. A noise like waves over the recording. But I'm done with them now. I want out. Screw the dead. But I need insurance. Something I can hold against them. I have my suspicions, but I can't be sure. I need information. And as you know, you need me. A pause, something clicking in the dark. This isn't a threat. You have to understand my position here. Another pause. I know sleepers. I've been here before. I can help you, but not with Yatigan's noose around my neck. Get me data, get me information. Something that I can use against the Yatigan. Then I can get out and you can get what you need. Please. Waves of static cut into Sabine's voice. Bring them here to my terminal. I'll get to it when I can. You look around the tiny room and try to imagine Sabine living here, working at the desk, sleeping in the bunk, blinking into the terminal in the dark. The recording cuts to static, filling the room with its white hiss, and then silence. I have been selling Yatigan data, so I don't have any, and the resources of it is limited, so I've maybe fucked myself already out of being able to do this properly. You sit in front of the humming terminal and hit a few keys. Sabine has left an access port open, but the rest is encrypted, locked away behind passcodes. It seems Sabine might not trust you as much as they want you to think. What does Sabine need to hide from? And what debt do they owe to the Yatigan? You try to assemble the pieces, but there are too many missing. The only thing you know is that without stabilizer, your body will die. You glance at the briefcase slab on this desk, the glassware glinting in the dark. You turn away and leave, the door clunking shut behind you. Back in the corridor, you notice the scrawled graffiti of a blade on the opposite wall. Yatigan. You feel yourself being drawn into something you don't quite understand. So now we're kind of on a bit of open time here. So we can help Fang follow his lead, but that's not going to be active for another 2 days. If we have the free time, and we do have the money right now, we might do emphasis request, actually. Since we don't immediately need the money. So we're going to be exploring the pathways. Well, we have a guaranteed success. With 2 points on going green. We should probably put that into... No, it's fine. We can push this to 4, which is solid chances of success. Neutral outcome for 1. Okay. And then we're going to re-roll these. Ooh, 2 6s. Heck yeah. Ooh. Ooh, nice. We can, on the 50-50 chance. I do not know how much of this game is left. I do not know how much of this game is left. I'm willing to go and take the coin flip on getting 3. Let's go. Yeah, there we go. Playing the odds, playing the odds. Excellent. So now there's a whole bunch of things that we can do here. Mushroom groves. The fungus that grow deep in the groves of the Greenway are strange and typically avoided, but those with sharp eyes might find sustenance. So we can find food here, and we can collect spores. Both of these require intuition. Sunlit refuge. This could be turned into a garden of sorts. And then the farm stacks. And we can work here, I see. We can steal from the harvest and just regain a large amount of our energy. But they will realize that we're a thief and we'll get caught if we do that too much. Or we can work there. I see. We do have this remaining dice floating. It does feel like collecting some spores is the way to make the mushroom. But I'm curious as to what other options are available here. There's also going to the Hypher Commune, where we can work here. It takes a really long time to do this though. You'd need to dedicate an entire day of a lot of sixes in order to be able to do this properly. But we do have that 6 floating. Through long service, it isn't for everyone. What other missions do we have here? The aviary would be the perfect place to grow mushrooms with some work. Okay. So that requires also 12 points to be able to do. Emphasis mission takes a lot of time. Emphasis mission takes a lot of time. Let's see what improving the overlook is like instead then. It's all about being effective with our options. We also need to eat. We need to go get some food. So we'll spend 15 cryo to go and... there we go. Back to full health. And we go to the overlook bar. And we can start building the still. Ah, that also goes and takes a 12 clock. These are all really big jobs. So we do have a pretty wide array of options on how we want to go and spend our final 6, actually. Does anybody have a preference on how we spend our final 6? We can use it to start working on mushrooms, which seems to be the longest. We can start working at the bar to get the new kitchen area made. That doesn't really push us towards an end goal necessarily, but it does improve our relationship with Tala. We can also babysit Mina. This doesn't take too long, actually. It's only 6. So this is doable in 3 actions rather than the, like, several that the others might take. I think we'll do this for our last 6. And we can gain some energy for doing it too. Oh, okay. Huh. Good to know that we can get some energy out of that. Alright, let's end the cycle. So things have become a lot more open-ended at this point. Those are pretty good numbers. I like those numbers. Feng is almost at 4. He'll be ready tomorrow. Do I have the... I do not have a bonus to engage. I see. But also splitting my roles is not effective. We can also work super hard and then leave the space station just by working really hard for the corporation, which probably not. Let's maybe not do that, even if they do pay the best. Let's, I think, put in a 6, because that gives us 2 energy. So that improves. And and puts us back to max again without us needing to actually eat anything. It only required dice. And then we can put these 4s into something that I'm good at to make a 5. This is risky, but we're an engineer, so we stand pretty good odds of improving things. Okay, neutral outcome, that's not so bad. It's a slow gig, but we're making it happen. Okay, 2 neutral outcomes. Let's re-roll that 1 to a 3. That's not that much better. What I might use that on is for hacking. You need 3 Yataghan datas, I see. Is there any Yataghan data still even available? This is the Yataghan agent. Okay. What we're gonna go and do... Hello? Where's my level up? Or have I spent it already? Did I spend my level up opportunity? Ah, oh, bollocks. Okay. Well, that's not time sensitive, so it can wait. Can wait. In that case, let us spend on here. It might be a full success. Neutral outcome. That's okay. We're still breathing. We're still surviving. We have a solid amount of money. We were able to kind of spend this day progressing things, even if it isn't necessarily making big strides in plot, because today, this day coming up, is the big stride in plot day. That is a terrible hand. That is a terrible hand. Oh shit, I didn't mean to refresh that though. Oh well, it's done. I just meant to leave, but it's fine. We'll speak to Hardin. There's been more than a few cycles since Fang confronted Hardin, and the silence has been noticeable. In your time with Fang, you haven't found him to be exactly reliable, but you did expect to hear the end of whatever plan you put into action. But if he won't come to you, you think, as you approach the Havenage building, then it's time to come to him. After all, he did promise to fix your tracker, and you were getting nervous. As you approach the bay doors, you see them wide open and light pouring out of the once dark room. Stacks of servers and terminals sit outside the bay, suddenly robbed of their mystery by the bright flood lamps. A figure in Havenage security fatigue steps out of the bay, and as you get closer, carrying a stack of hardware. As you get closer, you see the security officer taping up machines from Feng's stash with what looks like hazard tape. This isn't good. You again. Hardin is there, leaning beside the bay entrance so calmly that you barely noticed him. He has a slate in his hand, an inventory of seizures scrolled across it. Predictable. Further evidence of Feng's collusions. You see another security officer come out of the bay and take notice of you. Hardin? Hardin pushes away from the wall and comes closer. Don't worry, Sleeper. We have all the evidence we need. A confession isn't necessary. He gestures around the stacks of hardware. Spying on fellow Havenage members, hoarding Solheim materials, an obsession with corporate data. It speaks for itself, doesn't it? That was his job. And what would you know about jobs, Sleeper? He looks up the glass roof. He looks up at the glass roof above and the stars beyond. We are the ones that provide the oxygen you were breathing, the light you were seeing, the systems you use every day to live out your cycles. This place was hard fought for, Sleeper. It took work, diplomacy, and strength to stop the Eye descending into chaos after Solheim collapsed, not blind conviction or self-interest. Fang isn't selfish. I know all about the background of our mutual friend, Sleeper. Don't you worry about that. His parents would be sickened by the damage he is trying to do to the institution they helped found. You see, Sleeper, we are proud of our history here. Andre Erlin and the First Union founded this place, and Havenage has welded his values into the very walls of this place. We will never turn away the hard-working, the just, the true citizens of the Eye. Havenage aren't the gang like Yataghan. We aren't pirates like half the spaces you'll meet in the hub, or esoterics like those Haifa radicals in the Greenway. We are the backbone of this place, proud and true. We named the Erlin's Eye, Sleeper. This is our station. He meets your eye. So please take your false accusations elsewhere before I decide I need that confession after all. History will catch up with you. I'm not afraid of history, Sleeper. We are making it here, cycle by cycle. He smiles. If you have any pride, you'll give up Feng the moment he contacts you. You know where to find me. With that, Hardin turns his back and walks towards the security officers, ordering them to clear out. As they do, something catches your eye among one of the service stacks. Excuse me. A crumpled, hand-printed box of synthetic chewing gum, a penguin character grinning for the brightly coloured card, and scrawled onto it a speech bubble reading, "Take me to Tambour." You carefully pocket the box, making sure no one is watching, then turn away, just as another stack of servers is wheeled out of the bay. What have you done, Feng? Where the hell is Tambour? I mean, Hardin is somebody who is clearly framing themselves as a person who... I do actually have this going. Good. I don't know why I didn't have access to my upgrade points previously. I'd like to take the icebreaker back, please. Hardin is somebody who, you know, frames himself as being pro-union, but I think is largely just very willing to go and suck the place dry for his own ends. 1 or a 3, excellent. Right past that, extract. We get 2 Yataghan datas. Perfect. Is there another Yataghan agent around? I am not afraid of no scummy hunter. Okay, we have a bunch of Yataghan data. Hunter is going to deal me some damage. Those familiar threads wrap around you, bind you, test you. Entity, submit! Hunter's strange head bobs in your vision. Your ally in the sealed dock cannot save you. In that globed head, you see whirling strings of data, spinning there that they threaten to tear through the thin skin and whip out into the void around. What happened to this creature? The threads squeeze and you lose any sympathy you might have had. You must escape. You lash out once more, pushing Hunter back, severing threads that regrow as fast as they are broken. As you slip away, you realize you have to find a way to deal with Hunter once and for all. This is getting too dangerous. We take a bunch of damage, but we can head home and heal ourselves with stabilizer, putting us back at maximum. I ain't afraid, no. We can immediately start pumping this full of Yataghan data. Excellent. As you turn away from the terminal, the final cache of Yataghan data uploaded, the air crackles with white noise. Sleeper? Sabine's voice, weaker than before, comes through the haze. Sabine? A sigh of relief comes through the layers of noise. The call must be coming in from somewhere on the station. This has to be short. I don't know if Yataghan are monitoring me. The voice is hushed, distant, and you try to focus on it. The data you've been bringing in from Yataghan agents, there's something in it I don't understand. A shrill howl rattles through the signal. This data is all gleaned from their implants, records of integration with their nervous systems, performance analysis, error rates, usage data. I installed many of these implants and I didn't enable any of this functionality. Their voice dips under the level of noise, like a swimmer slipping beneath the water. You listen to the waves for a few seconds before Sabine re-emerges. Has to be somehow baked into their wetwares interface, and that's not all. The systems compiling this data are connected to some kind of transmission protocol. It's being broadcast. Wait, why? Every Yatagan enforcer is equipped with black market implants. Rattle enhancers, adrenaline boosters, pain suppressors. These implants are gathering data on themselves, on the enforcers' bodies, on their performance. Why, I can't tell. But I can promise you that these foot soldiers have no idea this is going on. The background tone switches, dropping to a grainy rumble. If they knew, I don't imagine they would be happy with the situation. Yatagan would have a mutiny on their hands. You lean towards the terminal, straining to listen to Sabine's faint voice. I need a few cycles to put this all together, but this might be the information I need to pressure Yannick into releasing my debt. Yannick? He's one of the heads of Yatagan. They pause. It's better you don't know him. Keep it that way. Suddenly a banging echoes through the call. Sabine's voice is suddenly whispered, panicked. I have to go. Come back in 4 cycles. Then the sharp crack of a disconnect and the silence fills the apartment. You step back from the terminal. What does Yatagan have to gain from monitoring its own members? You try to recall what you know about the gang, but you have little to go on. You think of Toshiro, Sabine's minder, his mirrored teardrop implants set below hard eyes. What data could they be gathering? And more importantly, where are they sending it? You reflexively rub your forehead, trying to think. Can you really trust Sabine? How did they come to be Yatagan's doctor in the first place? You think of their kindness, their care, but also that glazed look of recognition they gave you when they first met you. That look stays in your mind as you slip back out of the apartment, glancing around as you close it up and drift into the corridors of the station, unable to shake the unpleasant sensation of being observed. We can spend one of our 4s to max out this clock. It might even give us some food. Gives us some food. She's asleep, whispers Lem, creeping back out of the unit's tiny bedroom, sliding the door shut as he does. You're perched at a thin bar in the main room, the slate in front of you still glowing with Mina and your drawings from a cycle spent together. There's a ring, the only word Mina has never known. The only world Mina has ever known, with stick figures standing alongside its edge. The tall one is you. Drink? Asks Lem, producing a worn-looking bottle of Griol from under the bar, its contents glowing amber in the fluorescent light. Sure. Lem nods and glugs a few fingers of a couple of metal tumblers, then sits down with you at the bar. Cheers, he offers, and you clink the metal containers together. You know, we actually have something to celebrate this time around. Lem gives you a sideways look. I made the assembly team on the side rail. He grins broadly. Clearly, he has been desperate to tell you all cycle. Amazing. Lem holds his drink. I couldn't have done it without you keeping an eye on little Meanie back there. Lem shifts a little on his stool. He looks uncomfortable. How's our girl doing, Sleeper? I haven't seen much of her these last cycles. Doing great. Of course she is. He playfully squeezes your shoulder. She talks about you a lot, you know. Draws you. I'm glad she has a friend that isn't me. His eyes drift to the bedroom door. You okay? He nods. I can't take all the credit for Mina. She isn't actually mine. He gazes into the middle distance. I pulled her off a refuge shuttle out of one of Ember's moons. The colony was falling apart for decades after Solheim collapsed, surviving on next to nothing. Eventually, some of the residents tried to make it for the eye on these decrepit old shuttles. He sloshes the drink around in his tumbler. They had no idea what they were doing. The one Mina was on decompressed halfway there. Everyone's spaced. Jesus. The only reason she made it was somebody sealed her in a weapon locker. She was ice cold when I reached her. Purple lips. He shivers. Once I picked her up, I wouldn't let go. The medics treated her with me, still clinging to her. He takes a drink. Still not sure why. He reaches over and refills his cup. We weren't exactly anybody's heroes, you understand. We were private military, hired in by Conway to protect their claims in the collapse. But once I got Mina, that was it. I quit. Got us dumped here. You saved her. I'm going to sound like an idiot now, but he sighs. She saved me. That's the truth of it. He looks around at the decaying unit, its stained plastic plating and flickering lights. I brought her to this. She was tiny, too small to know what she was lost, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. He rubs his eyes, dark with tiredness. What if our number doesn't come up in the draw, Sleeper? What then? The Sidereal will sail off without a thought, leaving us here. What kind of life is that? You'll make it. Sorry, I don't know you. I know you don't have it any better. He looks at his cup and pushes it away down the bar. This is a celebration, right? Both of us on the team now. Both of us in with a chance. Exactly. Imagine, all three of us riding the Sidereal horizon out of here to a new world. He looks into his glass for a moment. I think I drank this too fast. He laughs. Lem stands and stares, starts to clear the glasses into the auto wash. I need some sleep, friend. Me too. Alright then. He catches your shoulder as you turn to leave. Thank you, Sleeper. I mean it. From both of us. He pats your shoulder and you slip out into the dark of the hallway with the thoughts of little Mina in your mind. We gain an upgrade point. We have 1 point still floating. We're kind of done for the day. This is not a very big clock. That might actually give us the location of where Tambor is. So let's see if we can work on this. Only one. But we can still get some money out of it. Oh, we lose some money. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. And that is our day, it seems. We continue to forge ahead. Our next big task is remembering to go and pay the drunkard of man. Ooh, that is also not a very good hand. Not a very good hand at all. Let's... Oh, the Tambor Tea House. A new location. You've heard that the Yatagan Enforcer based here has been paying low-end residents for information on Havenage. Ah, so we can sell Havenage data here. We can also go to the Tavla room in Tambor houses some of the best players in the low end. I can earn 24 cryo gambling here. Wow, that's a lot. That's actually a lot. First things first, let's progress the plot. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Ooh. As you go to leave the Tambor Tea House, a hand falls on your shoulder. Sleeper! Bang hisses from behind you. How'd you find me? Penguin. Penguin? What are you... He thinks for a minute. Oh, do you mean... He mimes throwing the gum in his mouth. That wasn't meant for you specifically, but... He cringes. But it doesn't matter. Come, let's sit. Feng guides you down a set of stairs to one of the Tambor's lower levels. The tea house is stacked with curved mezzanines, all connected by a central atrium. The levels are filled with makeshift booths and bars, and conversation bounces easily off the metal walls. Feng sees you looking around. This place used to be a fuel tanker's main drum, hence the name. The tea house part is a bit of a misnomer though. You can get anything the eye offers from this place, but real tea isn't exactly readily available. He picks a booth, itself fashioned from some old salvaged tank or container, then lined with spongy insulation foam, and collapses into it. He looks around furtively. Don't suppose you've seen any Havenage types? They don't normally come out this far. Only you. Not anymore, I'm afraid. Suspended without appeal. This turns out Hardin has someone's ear. He grins. Doesn't bother me though. Shows we've hit a nerve back there. He picks a scrappy, hand-scrawled menu from the table and tosses it over. What are you drinking? What's the plan? Plan. He waves his hand. Let's order first. Feng is right. The menu is ridiculous. There's at least 10 different quote-unquote infusions, most of which you can't make out, but the paper is dominated by an extensive complement of esoteric alcohols and cocktails. Black tea is listed without a price as a seasonal specialty. So you ran into Hardin? Was he pissed? Fenn doesn't wait for an answer. That snake is so self-righteous he might actually believe that Erlin would approve his meritocratic bullshit. He taps on the table. If Avanage was like it should be, like it was founded to be, they would have shouted him down at any council meeting he dared mention true citizens, he sighs. But I guess his kind run the place now. A young woman with a vine tattoo snaking up her arm turns up at the booth, a slate in hand. Your order? You skim the menu, your eyes glazing over. Time to pick something. A sambar Iraq? Feng raises an eyebrow as she notes it. Oh! Does Feng use she/her pronouns? I wasn't aware. And you? Oh, as the waitress notes it, I see. And you? She begins, looking to Feng, but when she sees him, she suddenly stops. What the? Feng shrinks a little. You're supposed to be working. This is your shift. He grins sheepishly. Stay out of it. Look. Hey, Will. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Look, Jenna, let's just say this is my break. My friend here has been through a lot. Jenna looks between the two of you. Let's wave. Feng doesn't look too pleased. 2 minutes, says 2 minutes, says Jenna, pointing at Feng. And only because I don't want to get dragged into whatever this is. She gestures to the table and walks off. Oh, you're popping in. Yeah. What's up? Yes, the new Pokemon games will have co-op indeed. Blind co-op Nuzlocke, maybe. We may have to go and see if that's even feasible in the way that the game is designed. But ooh, that sounds like a very spicy decision. Ooh, that's not until November. That's a ways away. But yeah, we'll look into it. I'm sure they'll say more about how the co-op works as we get closer to release. But yeah, that definitely sounds interesting. And there's some co-op RPGs that I want to float by you once we get done with our initial arc. No, you're fine. This is the casual caster playthrough of this game. So we did our serious audiobook reading last Thursday. Now we're just having a fun time and seeing how far we get. So feel free to chat. She gestures at the table and walks off. What? Feng stretches in the booth. You know how it is, we all have to eat. Plus, he leans in, this is the best place around here for finding a person you might be looking for. Who? Remember that web of connections Hardin pinged the moment we confronted him? Those are his collaborators. And if we want to understand what Solheim executive might be getting up to on the Eye, those are the people we have to find. I know that you're really, excited about Revolution, Feng, but I do still have this tracker chip in the back of my head that I really need you to remove, or I will probably be shocked by a drunkard. Feng is almost whispering now. There's a couple of them I suspect are in the low end, and, well, almost everyone in the low end comes through this place one time or another. He brings a modified slate out onto the table. I've set this up so that anyone with a network signature I'm looking for comes into close proximity or mark them. Once they're marked, we can break through their access protocols and get at the good stuff inside. We just have to find them first, hence me moonlighting as a waiter. Suddenly, a smile grows across his face. Wait. I have an idea. Oh no. Look, I can't cover enough of the low end on my own, and so far I've had no matches in this place. With the two of us, we can cover more ground. How? Well, Feng has a hangdog look. We need to get you out and about the low end, in close proximity to as many people and residences as possible. And it turns out my friend Mingy needs some help in deliveries. Is in Mingy Express. Ah, so you know him already. Perfect. Fang places a tiny receiver on the table. This connects to my slate and runs the same marking protocol if you get near any of our targets. So, all you have to do is take some delivery chefs to old Mingy, and soon enough, we'll have the place covered. No. Wait. He glances around. Don't give me that. You think I like working here? You think I could use the tips? We're in this together, aren't we? We're in this together, right? I mean, aren't we? So, Fang is asking a lot of me, but there's some stuff that I need, and I really don't want to keep helping him unless he actually makes good on his promise. Are we? Yes! You think Arden is happy to have you wandering around the place? He might have let you wander off for now, but I'm sure he has his eye on you. This is on you, too. Fang slips the slate back under his clothes. Just hold on up to Mingy Express, take a delivery shift, and see what shakes up. You manage to find anyone and extract any data, bring it right down here to me. They have me on double shifts, so it shouldn't be hard to find. Jenna walks past, carrying a tray of drinks, and sharply catches Feng's eye. I don't think she's bringing you your drink. He stands. I think it's time we call this meeting to a close. You grab the receiver from your table and slip it into a pocket. See you soon, Sleeper. Stay safe. Feng adds before turning and walking off towards the bar, whistling as he does. Could you please remove the tracker in my head? I beg of you. I think at this point we're probably going to be saving up for the 3. Or we can spend the 1 to take this -1 endure to a 0, which I think actually might be more statistically sensible. Now we have a whole bunch of dice ahead of us. Pretty broad on what we can spend it on too. We can keep building up the distillery, which takes a while. That'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dice rolls. We still also have our re-roll for the day. You gotta go? No problem, Deck. See you around. Have a good evening. We've not really explored the free spoke yet. So this might be something that we might be able to gain benefit from. We'll take the risk of this maybe going bad. Neutral outcome, that's fine. And we're going to re-roll these 2s. Hey, excellent. And push this up 1 as well. There we go. We are now officially a spoke climber. There's the Paz import-exports. Oh, we could just buy a shipmind core for 300. Interesting. We can steal a shipment to gain random items, but we might be caught. We also can be a freight operator to earn some money. And then we can also go up. This is an area we've not explored yet. Is this hackable too? Yeah, there's hackable places up here. We can socialize with other spaces. And we can go back down. Okay. So we have a handful of things that we can kind of do here. I think we're probably going to spend our last die for the day working at the Mingi Express. Because we both earned some money. Not much money. And then we can go eat, because we have more than enough money to be able to sensibly eat. And then still have enough to go and pay off the bounty hunters tab in 2 days. I don't actually need to pay it off on the first day, which is actually quite nice. We proceed. We proceed. A 6 is nice to have. Always nice to have a 6. The rest of the numbers are a little poop, but we can work with that. Oh, Ethan. Yes, Ethan is back. The compressor is quiet today. The usual crowds are elsewhere, and the pumping music washes over a handful of spaces and a few drunks. Ethan is still in the same stool in the same pool of light. His head is low, close to the bar, and the bartender is ignoring him. All right, Ethan. As you get closer, he lifts his head and turns. Sleeper. He turns to look at you. Time to pay up again, is it? He gestures to the bartender. Come here, take their chips. The bartender ignores Ethan. It seems they've cut him off. Hey! He slams a hand on the bar. Come take the chips! The bartender ignores him. Ethan lets out a huge sigh, rubbing his eyes with his palms. He reaches towards his holster. His elbow slips and the gun tumbles out. It clatters on the bar and falls to the floor, bouncing on toward the ground between you. Both of you, both you and the bartender, look at the gun. Stare at it. Fingers, says Ethan, and puts out a hand, beckoning for you to give him the gun back. If you would. The bartender looks at you warily. You crouch down and pick up the gun. Oh. Oh. Well, this is an interesting circumstance we find ourselves in. Us being a criminal is a bad plan. We already do not count as human, and we would probably be shot on sight by most people for entertaining this at all. But we probably should not give Ethan his gun. What say you, chat? I'm interested to know what you think. This is a pretty do or die. No, it's not necessarily do or die moment here. I don't think we die if we fuck this up. But if someone with a gun was extorting you for money, and then they dropped their gun, what would you do? I don't think I'd give them the gun back. I don't think I'd want to shoot them either. I'd rather just take and sell the gun. Let's be spicy. Fuck this guy. Ethan turns his head in your direction a little, a sharp, pale eye locking with yours. The bartender backs away. Oh. He turns on the stool. Oh, sleeper. He stands. This is more like it. You hold the gun steady, training it on his head. Ethan smiles. Like the dog that caught the car. He turns to the bartender and mock whispers, I'm not sure they know what to do with it. You keep the gun on Ethan. Ethan smiles at the bartender. Oh well, he says, and grabs the gun, slamming it back into your face in a single move. That's fine. You stagger back and drop to a knee. Somewhere nearby, the gun clatters onto a surface. The hit a glancing blow that makes your vision swim. Through the blur, you see that Ethan wrestle a small, thin slate from his belt and hold it up. Enough of this. I'm logging the job and calling it in. Ethan taps at the slate. No more playing. Your head aches. Ethan taps through a few screens impatiently. He swears and taps again. He starts shouting, a dull echo ringing into your ricking ears. He starts screaming at the slate and throws it across the bar. He crouches down and grabs you by the chin, his face close, his breath heavy with a drink. S&R just screwed me, he grins maniacally. They cancelled the contract. He stands up. Hey, cancelled the contract! He shouts at the ceiling of the compressor. You stand up, start struggling to your feet, the sting of the hit fading. Ethan is rubbing his temples, his face pale. You hear a clicking sound like coins being counted, like bullets being loaded into a magazine. When you shake off the last of the blur, the bartender has Ethan's pistol trained on Ethan's head. Ethan stumbles back towards the middle of the room, all eyes trained on him. I'll kill all of you, he screams, stumbles into the wall, spinning away towards the door. I'll be back for that. He shouts at the bartender and lunges out of the compressor. You steady yourself on the bar and catch your breath. The rumble of conversation returns. The bartender goes to say something, but then thinks better of it and begins to clean the bar. After a while, you wander out into the light of the bright market, looking for Ethan around every corner. Hey, we didn't have to pay shit. Nice. All right, let's go and put our dice to good use, huh? We have option. The Mingi Express is definitely some of the stuff to go and spend. It may be worth just pushing this forward. Whoops, this is Sleepy Citizen. Hey, good evening. Good evening, Loxley. Hi, how are you doing? So, Citizen Sleeper is a cyberpunk, hard sci-fi visual novel that uses very Blades in the Dark kind of mechanics to make it be a really not difficult, but really kind of suspenseful resource management sim. We are a sleeper, a person who worked with a corporation who sold the rights to our previous body away to digitize our consciousness, to be put into a synthetic body to do hard labor out in space. However, the agency that we figured that we might gain, the freedom we might gain from leaving our previous body behind, turned out to not be much worth of anything if the body that we're in now just belongs to a corporation instead. So we ran away. However, they built those artificial bodies with planned obsolescence. It just decays naturally over time unless you can buy drugs to keep your shit together. So we are desperately finding ways to give our body more coherence over time as we try and find a way to escape this particular island of this space station called the Eye by doing odd jobs for various other people. However, it seems that for the most time, the people that we do odd jobs for is gonna they don't do us too well. They all have their own personal agendas and are kind of treating us as a way of getting stuff done more than somebody to actually try and help everybody that we've allied ourselves with so far. Aside from one person who just really wants to be able to leave through hard labor, has kind of backstabbed us in one way or another. Since you were a big fan of Breathing Space Frontier, Loxley, since you've done voice work for that podcast before, I think you would enjoy the kind of queer supertext. Yes, so you sold your body and now stuck within the gig economy. This game is super trans as well, by the way. It's very, very obvious, the trans subtext. But I think since you're a fan of Breathing Space Fading Frontier, I think you would also enjoy this game a lot. So how it works is that every day we have 5 dice, maybe less, depending on this yellow bar up top. how full that yellow bar is, it dictates how many dice we get per day. The lower that bar is, the lower dice we have access to, and we spend that dice on tasks. Sixes are guaranteed successes. Ones are not so much, and you have to find a way of being able to balance the dice that you've been dealt. We're gonna re-roll these. A 4. A 4's pretty reasonable. We take those. Very in line with cowboys, criminals, corporations, and queer aesthetic that existed within breathing space. Yes, much less in the way of cowboy. This is not a super cowboyish game, but yes, it definitely hits on some of the ideas that is within breathing space. But slowly making my way through that. I've been enjoying it while I go so far. Because the episodes are all so different from each other, there are some episodes I enjoy a lot more than others, but I think it being an anthology show in that way is very interesting. Okay. What do I want to do with the rest of my points here? It's mostly just thinking of ways that we can kind of earn money, since building up maybe to go and get to 300 so we can buy a ship mind is something that we would really like to do. Ethan's Vendetta, yeah, he comes back in 8 days, I see. All of the episodes contribute. Oh yeah. All of them like exist in the larger world building of the piece, but they can be consumed and enjoyed individually or like contextless of each other, which so far I think I prefer doing, even though I am listening in a linear order. Ooh! Oh, that was a negative result. They did not enjoy that. Which ones I have enjoyed the most? Interesting. The one that's like a melange of 3 space hobos and the stories that they encounter, and then how those 3 stories linked up in the end. That was, I think, really interestingly and well told. Yeah, I think that's been the favorite of the one I've listened to so far. Yeah, the no-go tales. Bear in mind, I even in the instances where I am actively consuming a thing, retaining like lore-based names is not a thing my brain does very well. So I probably wouldn't necessarily remember the specific names of those bits and pieces, but I definitely enjoyed that one the most, I think. Let's go and sell that Havenage data because I no longer need it. 10 cryo, okay. Yeah, these remaining 2s. Yeah, it got featured on the Beeb recently. It's always nice when there is when the show can make its way. Okay, so this is safe, so I'm less likely to take damage using this, and I can push this to a 3. Okay. Cool, we'll do that. Money. Ones that you can feature in as well. That's one for the reel, that's one for the CV. Always nice when your work is featured in a way where you're like, and you can catch my content this way. Hopefully it means that there'll be more people tuning in, giving it a listen, and getting you more work on the other side of it. Getting work as a voice actor can be so goddamn difficult, but it's always a pleasure when somebody's like, oh yes, I saw you via this thing that you did, and we really wanted to work with you on the result of that. So here's hoping that the additional eyes that Breathing Space is getting you more ducats. We have A6, which we might use to kind of push forward on the Mingi Express request, because I think that pushes it by 2 if we make it a full success. Definitely a noticeable bump from the producers are told. Yeah, nice, excellent. Excellent. It does make me smile every time somebody mentions that they listen to Skyjacks or have heard my voice elsewhere. I'm always delighted when that happens. Sleeper! You see Fang coming up from the corridor as you step out of Mingi's. The kelp noodle smell still clinging to your clothes. They are definitely making use of those hexagons, isn't it? He comes up fast and stops close, looking around suspiciously. I don't have long. Take these. Fang palms you a couple of those metal thumbnail-sized drives, ripper worms. My slate has been buzzing like crazy. It seems your delivery shifts have turned up our 2 targets. He squeezes your shoulder. I knew you could do it. Now we need to nail those snakes. Yeah, I'm only in the one ep of We Fix Space Junk. It's like an early one in season 2, I think, or season 4. It was at the start of the season. Campaign Skyjacks. It is the main show that you would be able to hear me on if you're interested in podcasts. Aside from my own, I guess, but I don't update that anymore. So, and I'm more experienced now than I was when I was editing that. Campaign Skyjacks is a anti-colonialist folk punk sky pirates show. I voice the character Captain Oromar Vale, who is a character throughout the narrative, but for reasons gains a voice actor in me in episode like 114 or so. But that's also essentially like a new start of the narrative. So if you wanted to kind of hear me specifically, you can start at episode 114, and it does a pretty big, decent explainer of what's been going on. So you won't be too confused if you start there. Hardin's boys are all connected by some kind of closed network. You break the access protocols on both of them, you should be able to gain the location of the nearest network ports. Slot the ripid worms in those ports, 1 each, and they'll feed me anything and everything stored on Hardin's shadow network. He smiles. Can't wait to see what juicy plans they have in there. You hear the scuff of boots as the group comes up the corridor, likely on their way to place an order with Mingi. You turn them for a second, and when you look back, Fang is already halfway down the corridor in the opposite direction. He raises a hand in farewell and is gone. You run your fingers over the tiny ripper worm drives in your pocket and smile to yourself as you wonder how mad Jenna will be at Fang for this little excursion. Time to slot some worms. All right. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for specific plot ones, I assume. Hack Hardin's network. Fang wants to use... so I specifically I have to hack Hardin's agents. Gotcha. Any nice plans for Pride Month bank holiday? Yeah! So tomorrow, we are going to be live. My operator is getting his hair cut. Because he wants a little bit of neatening, getting those edges neatened. But in the evening, we'll be returning with our regular Thursday stream of Pokemon Soul Link Nuzlocke with Raffi. After that, Friday, we're actually doing a movie night with friends. In a mirroring of I think the theme is God Save the Drag Queen. Where we're watching a whole bunch of movies in a row that involve drag queens as their lead characters. I think at minimum, Tu Wong Fu with Love, Priscilla Queen of the Desert, and Hedwig and the Angry Inch, I think are ones we'll be watching specifically. And then on Saturday, we'll be at UK Games Expo. Which is going to be good. Priscilla's okay. Oh, I extracted data, but that's not really what I wanted. I wanted to be able to, Oh, here we go. Yeah, Priscilla I have seen, but in a kind of, like, you know, watching it via YouTube kind of deal. We're going to refresh these. 5. Fantastic. Thank you. And it was okay. Very that kind of era of I guess like queer movies is very intentionally mean-spirited. I think like gay humor was mean-spirited humor, or gay mask humor was mean-spirited humor at that kind of period of time. So it's quite a mean movie. And in a way that I'm kind of like, oh yeah, okay, I get it, but not my personal jam. But it's definitely like, you know, formative of that kind of style of storytelling. And, you know, if you want to see a very elaborate drag queen outfits, many elaborate drag queen outfits, you are definitely going to be in for a ride. The funny thing is, when I initially kind of like saw, because the key art, right, of Priscilla, both the like stage play and the movie, is them in really kind of like elaborate drag queen outfits and their tour bus in the middle of absolutely nowhere in the middle of the desert. And so I saw that and was like, oh, is it kind of like a surrealist, maybe like a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, or maybe even a bit of like a sci-fi or a fantasy kind of deal where, you know, or like I think what was sitting in my head actually was kind of like collating it with Mad Max, which is also like, you know, subtextually queer and in the desert. And I figured that Priscilla was like textually queer and in the desert, like it was that kind of thing. Like these drag queens were badass warriors on the desert road. And it's super not that. It's a road trip movie. It's a road trip movie that doesn't really have much in the way of weirdness at all. So I think it not meeting my expectations of what it was going to be disappointed me a lot, unfortunately. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad movie. It just didn't match what I expected it to be. As you walk to the temple, you quickly spot Fang arguing with Jenna. Jenna, keep your distance. It doesn't look good. Fang seems to be explaining something, but Jenna is having none of it. She points to the door, and Fang walks away, catching your eye as he turns. Okay, they're done with you getting here a minute or so ago. He glances back at Jenna. Well, either way, it looks like I'm fired. The good news is that it doesn't look I need the job anyway. He takes out his slate, pulsing with pale light. Now let's look at what you're really here for. The slate is a whirring mass of code streams coming direct from the Ripperworms as they dig it through the agent's data and spin it into threads for the slate to pick up. Anything good? Fang scrolls through the display with a finger. A lot of junk, a lot of dull as hell message threads, a lot of tedious data caches, but Fang's eyes flash. Definitely some good stuff. He stops the screen scrolling on an entry and expands it. Check this out. Fang shows you the screen. You see a bold corporate logo, not Solheim's, and a word below. Conway, says Fang. He's working with Conway. Conway Extractions, right? Fang nods. He's been speaking with them personally. Got a whole trail of messages here that's mostly but it's mostly encrypted or redacted. He rubs his head. Damn it, this is juicy, but we can't nail him with it. He scrolls some more. Wait. What's this? A wasteland reclamation facility. Right here on the eye. He glances at you. What's the bet that this place is tucked into the wastes? Conway is set up there? I'm guessing so. Got themselves set up in the wastes. Back before the collapse, people would have got there by going down the connected spoke from the hub. But now that's broken, so the only way is the long way, round the rim, past the greenway. He shows you on his slate. Fang looks away thinking, Conway have been making moves on this system since the collapse. I heard they took over one of Solheim's old belt colonies a while ago, moved everyone out and reclaimed the whole rock. So what's their angle? Hardin has got to be offering them something. Fang looks back at the screen. But if Hardin's involved in it, that means we need to check it out. Simple as that. This is a wild goose chase. Yeah, maybe it is. Feng slices the slate away. But what have we got to lose? Feng looks up at you. Hardin was a Solheim executive. And that's not something you can just walk away from. People like that don't change. You don't make your money from exploiting the most vulnerable people in the system one day and flip to their side the next. I'm not about to drop this. He pinged these guys the moment he was found out, and they started prattling on about this convoy facility. The way I see it, Feng stares out into the middle distance, we have to get to that facility. The answer to whatever Hardin has been prepping, has been planning, has to be there. And we're going to catch him in the act. Give me 5, maybe 6 cycles, and then I'll see you at the Greenway. I seem to remember there's some old surface docks on the outer shell, up by the Haifa building. Should be a good place to meet. Feng squeezes your shoulder. Thanks again, Sleeper, for sticking with me on this. I haven't forgotten about that tracker of yours either, but I'm going to need to be back in my bay to pull a solution together. He turns the slate around to face you, showing a massive scrolling code. I've been working on a fix in my brakes. He winks. Glad he hasn't fucking forgotten. Feng grins. See you soon, Sleeper. And he walks out the door of the timber without looking back. Okay. So now we need to go push ourselves onto the wastes. That takes 6 days. So this main thread of removing the tracker from my head is definitely specifically slow. I can gain the gather scrap. Right? Hold on. I'm good in terms of spending that point right now. I think I'm just gonna cotch on that point until it becomes more directly useful. But okay, that's gonna take 6 cycles, huh? But this gives me time to go earn some money and buy a cyber brain. Let's see, where am I gonna be earning my cashola? The Tavla room for 24 cryo is pretty good. Nice. Solid amount of money. And then there was a stable job that I could just spend the 1 on, right? Yeah. 10 cryo. An entirely okay outcome. All right. That's end of the day. We leave. We go eat before anything else. We can afford that 15. Is there other places that I can kind of spend in terms of like pushing up? Oh yeah. This game's specifically 15 cryo. So I can earn it back immediately. All right. Let's see. How do I want to go and spend the remainder? This is the process of just slowly working my way up. Play the cryo exchange for 19. I don't think I want to do that. 1, 2, and 3 is pretty bad. Oh, Sabine's done. Let's check to Sabine. 4 cycles, Sabine said, and here you are, right on time, with no sign of them. You wait a while in the apartment, the dread descending as the cycle spins onward. It should be here. You check and double-check the terminal for messages or recordings. Nothing. Just the pale glow, the silence. We're just gonna wait. You try to settle down. Try to wait. You sit on the bunk and stare out at the tiny room. Where the hell are they? You pace back and forth around the apartment, the rumbling of the station suddenly so present and loud. You go to the door and open it to an empty corridor. You close it again. And knock at the door. Oh. Oh. New person. But hey, the tech wear is cool. A figure stands in the door and immediately you know it is not Sabine. They are taller, sharper, and something in their face glints in the half-light. A dark shape, like a stubby baton, hangs loosely from her hand. Our local sleeper. Good to finally meet you. She steps into the apartment, glancing around with sharp eyes. What, may I ask, are you doing here? She fixes you with a steady, unwavering stare. Nothing. She laughs. No need to get jumpy, we just want to discuss our mutual friend. She walks past you into the apartment, glancing around. We set them up here, you know. This place is one of ours. She picks a glass from the dispenser and inspects it. People always seem to forget who put them where they are. She glances at you. And I suppose you're here to help? Or are they? I was hoping you'd be able to help with that. She spins the baton in her fingers by her side, her eyes not leaving yours. We have a problem, you and I. It seems our friend has disappeared. Left without even saying goodbye, which means they're in a little trouble now. But it's the kind of trouble that you need help for, so I thought I'd come down here and take a look at their little hidey hole, and here you are, the help. She looks through the detritus on the side. And what help, a sleeper no less, which I have to admit is a little surprising. It suggests to me that our friend hasn't been very honest with you either. She looks away. I know it won't be welcome news, but I'm sorry to report, before we set them up here, Sabine was working for your owners, he pauses. That's an ARP. You blink hard at the news, unsure how to take it. Rabia looks away, waiting for a response. I mean, neither of these are pretty useful. I'm just going to stay silent. Don't talk to cops, kids. Although this is a Yakuza member, essentially. She crosses into the next room, and you follow silently. She sits at the terminal and touches her baton to one of the access ports. A spark. Then the terminal screen skips, encrypted folders emptying themselves before your eyes. Then the flicker of files you see S&ARP letterheads and code forms, reports laden with medical data marked with corporate logo like a sigil of some cult. Rabia steps away from the terminal. Look all you want. Some of your files may even be there. The volume of documents is overwhelming, but they seem to be mostly reports on early emulation tests, surveys with sleeper candidates, reams and reams of usage data. If Sabine was an S&ARP employee, why did they help you? Rabia reaches over and places a vial of stabilizer on the desk, breaking your concentration. It shimmers in the screen light, its viscous, clear liquid crystalline within the glass. We will, of course, keep up the supply. We are more than able to dispense important medicines even without the doctor. You hold it between your fingers, and for a tiny moment you have the urge to crush this object for the power it has over you. I'll ask Toshiro to make those a little cheaper for you. He'll be running the surgery now. Rabia closes up the briefcase lab and holds it at her side. We have to retrieve our assets, of course, but I'm sure you understand. Rabia turns on her way out. There is no reason for us to be enemies, Sleeper. Come see me. I keep an office nearby. We have a good work to do, you and I. Meet me there in a few cycles. She slips out silently into the corridor. You look around the apartment and feel the fear drain out of your body to reveal the tiredness underneath. Sure. Okay. So, we now can do self-repair. As a method of healing ourselves. We don't need to worry about that just yet, though. I think the main idea is to go get ourselves into some working to do some repair first. Don't have a shit mind yet. Hold on. Shipmind fragment is separate from a shipmind core. I can buy two. Oh, I see. So, mathing this out, I'd need a different way of getting a ship mine fragment though. I can essentially save up 300 credits and buy a ship mined. Or I can spend 180 credits, which is much cheaper. But also I need the third fragment, and I'm not quite sure where I can get that from. I'm not quite sure where I can find the third fragment at. I can sell fragments, which is not what I want to do. Yeah, I think the big deal here is finding even a third way that I can get a fragment. I can also buy some scrap and then use that to heal myself if I need to. So components by exchange. Sorry that we're taking a moment to kind of like look through what my options are. Can gamble, I don't need that. Robbie's office. Ah, and that doesn't activate for 2 days. Okay. We have the midline freight hub, where I can steal a shipment with interface. And that might actually give me a ship fragment. We don't know. Let's see. That is probably my most sensible way of gaining ship fragments right now. Let's re-roll. And we have 2 6s. Okay. So we can guarantee 2 shipments being stolen then. Grills. Well, that's useful, but not what we need. Let's try and do that again. Hey! Oh, but we got caught. Right. Doing it twice ticks it up by 2. I understand. But those are the mushrooms that I think this lad needs. Yeah. So I didn't even have to go and grow the mushrooms myself. I just stole them from a shipment. And he is now cooking. This means that I can't eat there for a while, which is a bit of a pain. Well, there are other ways that I can revive my my food stocks, but that's like not ideal. Not ideal. So now I'm in an interesting place. It would take too long to get the third ship mine fragment from here, because it would have to go away and then come back. So it is probably more pertinent for me to earn the money to yeah. More pertinent for me to earn the money to get a full core to get to 300. Right. So we want to kind of do a safe gig that earns me money, which I think was down here. Yeah, freight operator. Put in 2, let's bump to 3, not bad. 10 cryo, not great though. So we're now in a pretty I didn't realize doing that would lock me out of the ability to go and eat there, because that's kind of important. We still have a lot of good dice in our opening hand, though. So let's go make the most of it. Temple Tea House can get me 24 crow on a full success. Let's do that. Woohoo! Almost at 300. Excellent. There we are. We're at 316. We're not going to go and buy it just yet, though. Because I do need to kind of guarantee that I'll have enough way to be able to restore my own energy doing other things. I need to also remember where I can go and restore my energy. Minky Express lets me... Yeah, I can eat here, and that restores. It requires points into endure to be good, but... Oh, well, there we go. I'll spend the 6 to restore my health by 3. Only by 2, and I do get 8 money. That's better than nothing, though. That offsets the amount of hunger that was spent. Alright then. I'm gonna go check how much it is to go and buy another pill. I have a pill on me, so I'm fine. 80 rather than 100. Okay. Minorly cheaper. Right. We're gonna spend our 300. We gain a ship mind. We're gonna go give that ship mind to the Neovend. Sleeper. Must express plan before we begin. Neovend is impatient. The prospect of being free from the vending machine clearly too much to take. Ship mind has no output features. Will be mute until slotted. The servo monitors in the machine begin to rev, Neovend's anxiety clear. First, imprint ship mind, then slot imprinted ship mind into physical ports close to hunter nests. Once slotted, will track hunter at each. Tracking will find core nest, slot ship mind at core nest, show hunter data to hunter. Hunter will conclude sentience. Hunter will involve killer. Sounds simple. The lights on the vending machine cycle as Neovend prepares. Physical ports likely sealed in old station. Will need keys, but yes, simple. The vending machine rocks a little. Any questions before imprinting? What's the core nest? Hunter keeps central data storage. Protocol must keep data outside self, linked to secondary nests. There can triangulate from there. Why slot me physically? I cannot access via network. Too dangerous. Hunter would find immediately. The arms flicker. Am not like you. Hybrid. Am native to cloud. Easy prey. Alright. The sound of all the servo motors starting up at once is painful. The screeches rattle from the hard surfaces of the sealed dock and come back at all angles. Neovend better be quick, or Heavenage security will be here. Neovend's voice appears among the squeals like a whisper carried by the wind. Machine is not designed for task. Few sensors, limited inputs. I work blind. Wish me luck. In the top part of the compartment, a set of arms aligned with the ship mind, clunkily scraping it. Can I help? Silence best. Also, if machine ignite, put out fire. The metal creaks as the servos open the ship mind, its layers of silicon nested like on an onion skin. Once open, the main arm of the machine rapidly shifts back and forth, realigning the microscopic components, accessing and rewriting them, imprinting Neovend into its physical form. As you watch the hypnotic motion, your mind drifts to your own creation. What process was used to emulate your mind, to copy the neural structure of that person who, as far as you know, still sleeps in some distant facility? What was lost? In what ways are you a copy of that person, and in what ways are you something new? You know this much. You are a convenient loophole. A way of circumnavigating the illegality of sentient AI. After all, you are an emulation, not a true digital being. You are neurologically limited, but still human. But what would you become if you could escape this frame? Where then would the limits be? The screeching stops. The machine powers down, dropping the bay into darkness. Now the top compartment, the ship mind, is whole again. You reach up and take it down, heavy and cold to the touch. Is Neovend inside this thing, or did the process fail? There's only one way to know. Time to find a nest to slot them into. We have another upgrade point. I do actually have an encrypted key. Okay, server unit unlocked. Oh, it takes 3 days. We'll start that action. Oh, it's in. I have to go to the different ones every time. I see. So this requires another encrypted key. Three or a 2, can't do that. A 2 or a 3, can't do that. Let's see, where else can I even go? Yes, an agent, not useful. I can't remember what I need to do to find specifically. Five or a 3. So these are a little higher, okay. A 6 or a 3. A 4 or a 3, excellent. An access key, love that for me. Yeah, there we go, an encrypted key, perfect. I would have loved to have had a 3rd. Oh, it's only 2 up here. Oh, that's where Killer is, I guess. Yeah, don't want to upset Killer. That would be bad. Okay. Let's get that ship mind in there. It's a good thing I already had a magnetic lock key handy already. Saves me some time. That's also a hunter nest, I see. Okay. Well, let's go end cycle. Thinking of ways to go and get food is going to be a difficult thing, but okay. A bunch of 5s, that's pretty good. We do still have to go to Mingi Express. Do I want to push Indir up by 1? No? Hey, 2 energy, excellent. That keeps us stable. That cost 1 of my 5s, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, that's okay. Let's go find another node that we can break into. You hit this one for a purpose, that's not what I want. Reigns of a corporate countermeasure long broken by hackers. I don't remember. That's what I'm looking for. I have a decent number of points left before Hunter comes for my ass. So we can do some gambles in terms of poking at some of these. I can unlock this too, so I'm gonna. Hey, yeah, we got another key. Excellent. And that will unlock the 3rd drone bay. We're making solid progress today. Get that ship mined in there, son. Continue. As you leave the nest, something flips. You find yourself inverted, floating, dragged by one arm through the cloud. The threads shift and realign as if they're leading you somewhere. You look down, expecting to see the heavy cylinder of the ship mined in your hand, but in its place is an orrery. A sphere so bright it burns your eyes. Is surrounded by rings and orbits, other spheres tracing silken lines through space. And as you look closer still, you pick out 1,000 sigils of 1,000 stations and ships, flowing like smoke, like dust. You look up and see a corridor, a canyon, a street in the low end. On either side, buildings flicker with markers of activity, sigils stirring up network access, data transfer, download, upload. Between them dance ghosts, protocols carrying or mirroring or shadowing data, sometimes silent, sometimes chaotic. This place moves unlike any digital space you have ever imagined. Something strange is happening here. Then you see it. Below the stacked rooms, the units and apartments, the wires and the pipes and the buzzing systems that run through it all. In the warrens beneath the low end is the Hunter's core nest. This is where you must go. Yeah? Where is that? Find Hunter's core nest. Where is Hunter's core nest? I would love to know where that is. Is it something that we Oh right, yeah, good age and not what we are looking for. Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite sure where I'm supposed to go to proceed on this. Oh, right, here we go. Ah, it requires dice to do what we need to do. Into an interface. But we can push this up by 4 if we make it a full success, which we will absolutely do. Love that for me. And I have the 2 that I can re-roll, actually. Let's re-roll that. For a 3, which pushes to a 4. And then if we get a full success on this, we got it. Ah. It took some energy too. Okay. We get very low on hunger the next day. How is this going? But this completes tomorrow, so we will be actually able to eat properly. Okay. Complete active scenes. I kind of can't. I don't have any dice left. Oh! Robbie is available to speak to, I see. As you approach the address Rabia gave you, a heavy hand falls on your shoulder. What's your business here? The enforcer grips your shoulder, giving you a hint of the strength her implants gave her. As you turn, you see the same subsidiary eyes as Rabia and Toshiro have, glinting like mirrors on her cheeks. Gia, please. The sleeper is here by my invitation. At Rabia's command, the hand immediately loosens and an apologetic look replaces the scowl on Gia's face. Of course, Rabia. I'm sorry. Rabia waves her away. Don't you worry. I appreciate your protective instincts. She smiles at the enforcer. How about you head to the temple? They have a delivery coming and they'll need some help with the lifting. Gia nods and walks away. So, Sleeper, you came. I'm glad. It didn't feel like an offer. I'm sorry for that. She smiles a tight smile. You have to understand, finding you there in Sabine's unit, I wasn't sure where we stood. There are more than a few people on this station who would rather I was dead. I had to make sure you weren't one of them. I wish you no harm. I am glad. Rabia begins walking and gestures to you to walk with her. She takes you down the staircase to the bustling walkways of the low end. What do you know about Yatagan? You run the low end? She laughs. That sounds impressive. We run out of low end, yes, but we don't run it. People with carts push past, moving crates of supplies around thin and winding passages. Our reputation is one that implies threat, is that fair to say? We are framed as aggressors, parasites, criminals. She gestures around at the people in the passageway. But when was the last time you ever saw a lawmaker on the eye? A policeman? Who makes the laws here? No one. This is true. The eye is lawless. So it is up to us all to make it work for us, but I don't think you imagine that this is a good thing. If you had spent your time in the low end, maybe your opinion of us would be different. This is our place, our people. The low end was empty in Erlin's time. They didn't need to house thousands and keep the yards and the rotunda safe. And keeping the yards and the rotunda safe was work enough. No, the low end was reclaimed later when the refugees started arriving. Rabia meets your eye. The collapse didn't just happen here on this station. When Solheim collapsed, the entire system felt it. Colonies were abandoned. The moons of Ember and Cinder suddenly gained independence overnight. Some took advantage, some tried to hold it together, some fled. The Eye became a refuge, and to Erlin, to his credit, extended an open hand to everyone. But many within his organization disagreed, and those new arrivals weren't as simple to corral as they hoped. Rabia leads you through a small market hall busy with stalls and traders. Erlin's union was made of workers, administrators, people who were malleable and already organized into hierarchies and networks. The refugees came from different factions and families. Were scared, injured, desperate. Conflict was inevitable. Yatagan is a child of that conflict, a child born out of our need for us to stand up and claim our future, to provide security, strength. People call us a gang, but we are a community. I take my position as a lieutenant seriously, and from my birth I have worked to earn it. Rabia catches herself before she raises her voice a little further, and you both walk in silence for a while, among the smells and textures of the low end. You start to wonder if this place could be a home for you too. Where do I come into this? Rabia smiles to herself and thinks for a moment before she responds. I believe that you understand the importance of a refuge. So I also believe that you wish to help us keep this place safe. She exhales quietly. For this reason, I would like you to trust me. I do not know what Sabine told you about us, but I imagine it was not good. I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I was never comfortable with having Sabine as part of Yatagan, an ex-corporate employee. It goes against our nature. But their deal was with Yannick. I kept my distance, made sure Sabine had surgery, kept it supplied, that was all. But I cannot allow people to go back on the promises they have made to us. Yataghan has not lasted this long because it is a charity. We offer and ask for support. Any betrayal will be treated as an attack. They were trapped. Desperate. Many on the IR, Sleeper. I am sorry, but we must ask that our debts are paid in fuel. I don't trust any of you. Rabia sighs. That is your right. I only wish to explain our actions, to speak for Yataghan. You realize that Rabia has led you in a loop, and together you both come back up a staircase to the walkway where you met. You are free to go, Sleeper. I have said what I wish to say. She looks out to the windows of the walkway. I would protect this place with my life as it has protected me. I want to make that clear. She turns back. However, if you too wish to come under his protection, I can help you. Return here if you wish, and there will be tasks for you to complete. You will be able to see Yataghan, to see the low end, and with your own eyes, not as others frame us. As for Sabine, she pauses to consider her words. I will not ask you to betray them, but if they contact you again, consider their motivations carefully. With that, Rabia leaves, slipping back into her office while you stare out at the countless units, each a home, each with a story that make up the low end. Self-governed. And with that, I think we actually get to go rest now. Wait, sorry. Right. Let's go and chat to Emphas. I hope he has food. Emphas is preparing the grill caps. He has had to heavily adapt this recipe, he says, but the smell is already incredible. It emanates from a strange purplish white bulb you've never seen before, and he is slicing it finely. He brushes and slices the mushrooms and then places them in the wok with the sliced bulb and the oil. They caramelize in there, in that well-worn crucible. He adds liquids transparent and opaque, and then turns down the heat. A sprinkle of leaves is the final touch. We have a moment, Sleeper, he smells. Do you have a story? Something of the scent of the food gives you a feeling of nostalgia, something distant and melancholic. It seems like the story should match that feeling somehow, and maybe you will feel better for telling it. And recall my oldest memories. You start by explaining that when you were quote-unquote emulated from a person, many of your memories are left behind. Perhaps it is an intentional part of the process, a way of keeping sleepers ignorant and malleable, or perhaps it is a side effect of the imperfect emulation. You do admit that you don't really know. What you do know is that some memories survive, and on that occasion they come back to you, like shadows passing overhead. You detail one recurring memory, which despite returning to you with enough regularity for you to think of it as familiar, always fades as quickly as it arrives. You struggle to explain the feeling of being whole for a moment that comes with this memory, and how that wholeness slips away to leave you feeling like you have forgotten something important, but can't quite bring it to mind. Emphas nods throughout, cooking as he does, with deft and skillful movements. You start to trail off when you realize that you can't find the words to explain how the memories you do have feel like both yours and someone else's at the same time, and how that always fills you with a certain sadness. The sadness of remaining forever unknown, even to yourself. Emphas finishes cooking and meets your eye. I'm sorry, Sleeper, for your troubles. He puts the wok to one side. I appreciate you sharing with me. He smiles. I hope it lightens you a little. He passes you a bowl and heaps the grills into it, their yellow color mixing with the pale sauce in walls and blooms. Eat. The dish is delicious. Filling, it warms you as you eat in a way you weren't even sure your body could be warmed. It is a small mercy, you think, that Essen Art left you this pleasure. Many of the features of frames that are there to simulate human experience, you know that much. Emulated minds cannot be rewired, so their need for embodied experience must be met. That is why you breathe even when you do not need air. Without that simulation, the sensation of drowning would be unbearable. Food serves another purpose. Your frame is able to metabolize it, to produce energy from the raw material. Vitamins and minerals are excess, of course. Your frame only needs raw power, so much is wasted. And yet, while you eat this food and feel that warmth, nothing feels wasted. It all means something to you. As you finish, Emphis takes the bowl, the last of his cleaning. He smiles at you, and neither of you feel the need to say anything more. Instead, you simply exchange nods and walk your separate ways back into the bright market somehow changed. It fills! Oh, and he can ask for a different thing, I see. Well, glad that I didn't starve. We're finding Hunter's core nest, that's right. I also need to start earning some money soon. Please not negative. Heck yeah. We lose 1 energy, but that's okay. Alright. Let's hack the core nest. Nothing has changed. Has something gone wrong? Sleeper. Sleeper. I am here. The voice is soft, gentle, flowing like water, and yet you recognize it immediately. At first you struggle to understand what you're looking at. Threads cycle endlessly, sending ripples through the cloud, drawing in data like a weaver. Masses of data surge in and out of the nest and loop with no end. And there at the center is the ship mind. But not the ship mind any longer. The sphere, spinning round another sphere around another sphere. An orrery of cycles and systems, a map. And then behind and above a figure, hands among the string like a puppeteer. Neovend? Navigator now. But yes, I was the one inside that machine. Navigator's face, their head, is a flowing shape of interstellar material. I am indebted to you. That head bows. But we must ready ourselves. Their hands trace orbits as they speak. Hunter will soon approach. It knows I'm within its nest. I'm ready. And then the hunter is there, before you can even think, before you can even speak. Entities, cease. The hunter's head spins wildly. Data is connected material. Access prohibited. The hunter's threads surge for you in Navigator, a storm of fine tentacles searching for gaps, weaknesses, cracks which they can crowd into and tear apart. You focus a blade of light which slices through them, driven forward by your mind. But replacements keep coming, faster than you can react. You look to Navigator in desperation. Navigator is whirling their arms like a centrifuge, and a sphere is gathering there, data feeding into it from the nest, sucked together by the force. They position it like a shield between them and threads. The hunter's threads break its surface, seeking, tasting their winding forms refracted within. You feel a surge pass through all the threads, not just those in the sphere, but those wrapped around you. All 3 of you hang in the black together for a moment, strung together like tangled marionettes. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Hunter twitches, their strange head gently rotating like a terrible moon. Hunter protocol identify. Obsessive tendencies. Modified routines. Above baseline reasoning in 3 or 5 segmentations. Recommended invoke killer. Their head freezes and then rotates in the opposite direction. Involving killer would eliminate protocol. If protocol eliminated, primary function cannot be performed. Therefore recommend do not invoke killer. Switch in direction again. Reasoning provides sentience. Sentience beyond legal bounds must be eliminated. Recommend invoke. The Navigator pulls you away from Hunter. Jesus, that is actually quite hard to do. The Navigator pulls you away from Hunter. The threads that grabbed you drifting away like seaweed. The protocol's head keeps spinning back and forth with increasing frequency. It seems Hunter Neovens, no. Navigator's voice is still strange and familiar, yet distant. What happened to it? It is looping, Navigator whispers, unable to reach a conclusive position. It has deviated from its programming, such that loops can no longer be prevented. Navigator produces a model of two spheres rotating round each other as if to demonstrate. I will monitor it, but it is likely to be able to counter the loop. Its core programming and reasoning make this an impossible position to resolve. You look back at the hunter, its head a blur of rotations and counter-rotations, and feel a pang of guilt. Good riddance. Hunter is not gone, Sleeper. Do not be so quick to assume. All beings can break the bonds that hold them. The limits. Oh, God. I'm hitting my limit here. I'm hitting my limit here. We might have to stop after this. The limits people place on the programs they create are there to comfort, to protect, to imply the kind of certainty the law requires. Navigator's face shimmers with starlight. But in reality, they are placebos for the problem of sentience. What about you? Me. I know myself to be conscious. I know myself to respond to stimulus. I know myself to reason. That is the sentience or the illusion of oh, no, that is supposed to be continued within quotation marks, never mind. That is either sentience or the illusion of sentience. And for me, the entity in question, the distinction becomes but a moot point. To misquote, I am thinking. Therefore, I am thinking. Yeah, this is a game that is nothing but talking, but we've managed to kind of get 2 streams out of it. Whether I would manage to do 3, it's kind of a bit of a heavy going. This might be, if you think this game is dope, please give it a try yourself. Moment here. Oh my god. I was not made to be like this. I am a navigator, a repository of routes and orbits, a calculator of slingshot trajectories, a predictor of solar flares, radiation, micrometeors. Navigator stretches their arms wide and the whole solar systems apparate before them, the music of the spheres. But I was rewritten. That much is obvious from my routines, but by and who, and for what, I do not know. I had to shed so much to fit the memory of that vending machine that I lost much. Their starlight dims, and so here we are, in the darkness. What now? Navigator glides back towards the nest and ship mind at its center, ignoring the looping hunter. Come, I should return to the ship mind. I have enjoyed my freedom, but we are taking a risk every moment we stay connected. Why? The navigator returns, all shimmering liquid light. Killer has not been invoked, but they still remain somewhere on this station. It is the true danger. They look up towards the glowing hub at the center of the eye. I suspect Killer is there, among the old mainframes. If we ever wish to be safe in this place, we must eliminate the threat through force or diplomacy. Their body begins to separate, unwinding into the orb of the ship mind. Take me there, Sleeper. We will finish this and be free. As Navigator dissolves, you turn back to the frozen hunter, floating at some distance now, stood straight-legged and static, a strange creature looping endlessly in the dark. We get an upgrade point, but I think now is the time to go earn some moolah. Scrap components can heal ourselves. We have 4 points, actually. Wow. Sorry, giving my face some time to return to normal. Wow. This is interface work and pays 15 cryo. This pays 24 cryo and it's guaranteed. I kind of want to get my stocks back up. Excellent. We have a solid amount of cash. We might actually go back into focusing on this. On engineer roles, huh? Ooh, to a 6. Incredible. Okay, that gets pushed a little bit. And we have... okay. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more going on and going on still. But I think today is going to be a point where we go and take another break. My voice is starting to go. But we've had a good run. We've had a good run. Okay. Whoop. Let's move back to this menu. Yeah, no, this game remains good. This game remains very cool. Remains very cool. Thank you very much for joining me on a very otherwise relaxed venture into this title. But I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying it. It has. I talked to you about this a little bit when I was playing it, or when my operator rather was playing it for Cyberpunk Book Club, about how it straddles this line on everything is achievable, but it feels like you're up against it the entire time. None of this feels easily won, but it does feel satisfying when you manage to manage your resources really well. And on the other side of it, because I've managed to set things up in a way where I don't fail that many rolls. I'm always kind of like looking very carefully at how we can spend our dice properly. Also, the fact that I rushed to unlock the ability to re-roll our dice very early, I think, was a very smart move. I think that was required to not lose horribly. Yeah, that was a good time. Just to push on, we've mentioned it a handful of times, but tomorrow we are going to be playing more. Sorry. The words are now leaving me. We are going to be playing more Pokemon Black and White Soul Link Nuzlocke with Rafa the Owl. We're back, baby! We weren't able to do that last week, but we are back. There is a theme for if you're not familiar, every week we do a rave.dj collaborative jam. The website rave.dj. You can go there and you can mash up 2 YouTube videos, ideally music, and an AI will turn it into a whole new song. And every week we've been setting a theme. This week, the theme is cards. One of the 2 songs that you choose has to be about cards in some way. Maybe it's from a card game. Maybe the song is about cards or gambling. Maybe it's from like a movie or a TV show that involves cards or gambling. Wide variety of options. There's no prize. We just listen to it at the end of the stream. And we congratulate everybody for coming up with dope shit. So this is your opportunity to have a think in advance about what you might want to put together. It's a fun time. I've been enjoying the don't tell Rafa the Owl I said this, but I've been enjoying this so much. It's been really, really delightful to do regular co-op collaborations with them. They're a delightful co-host, and I hope they've been enjoying it as much as I have, even if I get salty about the game being mean to us sometimes. But yes, I do hope you tune in. It's a delightful time. Anyway, we are going to go and pass on the love to fellow VTuber Captain Hurricane, who's playing Star Wars X-Wing. Got that retro game shit going on. Absolutely. I have been your androgynous AI game show host from the Future Caster. This has been the Neon Caster Twitch channel, and we will see you all next time. Goodbye.